For a long time now, I've really wanted to create a gaming setup in my office. And last night I said to myself, it's now or never. In the video today, we'll go through everything I've assembled here. So, are you ready? Let's go. The environment I've set up my table in is very much not the prettiest, but there's a simple reason for that. Right now everything is placed randomly everywhere, but the reason for that is simply because we are actually in the middle of building a new office space in the room next to where I'm sitting right now. So yes, everything is a mess right now, but it'll become great once it's done. Right now we're waiting on an electrician to make some sockets so I can plug in my mess. But apart from that, then we are also waiting on the materials for the floor. So there's still a lot to be done, but hopefully it'll be great because the office I've got right now is kinda sad. Spacious, but sad. Well, enough about that. Now let's get to the matter at hand. This entire idea actually became a thing because the company Trust asked if I wanted to check out their new gaming table. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to set up a proper gaming setup. The table is the Trust GXT 709 Luminous RGB gaming table, which is 120 centimeters in the length and 60 centimeters in the width. So it's not the biggest table, but since I only intend to use it as a gaming station, then the size is quite alright. But it's definitely not the biggest table, which will be a deal breaker for a lot of people. The table does however come with some pretty neat features. The most obvious one is that it has an RGB strip built in all along the frame of the table. And it can easily be changed from a built-in touch control that sits in the tabletop. From the controls you can either turn it on or off. You can also choose between 10 different colored lights or effects, and you can dial in the brightness of the light strip. The table also comes with a headset rack to hang your headset, as well as a way for you to store a drink without having it on the tabletop itself. It can be practical for some people, but you can always just push it under the table or completely detach it if you don't need it or don't want it. Apart from this, then you also have a cable hole in both the left side as well as the right side of the table. This is a great way to store the dongles for your wireless peripherals, like I do, so they're easily accessible if they need to be charged. I would have loved to see some sort of cable tray or cable net connected to the bottom of the table, just like I have on my work desk, just so that I wouldn't need to have cables lying around everywhere behind the table. I also usually use the tabletop for product unboxings or just filming in general, and I personally really hate that Trust have decided to put a huge logo in the lower left side of the table. Almost anywhere else on the table would have been okay, but why put it on the top and so huge? Just a little bit annoying in my opinion, but I know that's not everyone that thinks that way. I'm also not really that impressed by the actual build quality of the table, since the controls doesn't sit flat to the table and keeps pushing up no matter how much you try to press it down. One of the cable holes is also kinda smudged and dirty, and it doesn't seem like it's possible to get off no matter how much you try to clean it. I don't know if it's just my table or every table is like this, but it's not a great look. But if you put that aside, then it's quite sturdy and doesn't get scratches that easily. One thing to note is that if you, like me, already have a table that's height adjustable, then it's quite hard to get used to not having that feature. For what you get with this table, I actually think the price is quite fine. The table is by no means the best on the market, but it's a great entry-level choice if you're looking for a table specifically for gaming. And it's really nice that you have the RGB strip built into the table. Usually you would have to buy a light strip by itself and attach it with glue, and that's never a great look anyway. This is built in, so it looks way better that way. So if you want the light strip in the table, this is a great option. I have a few computers which have different purposes. This PC and NAS system is my main system where I do all my work every day. And though it's extremely powerful and have a lot of storage, I really didn't want to use it as my gaming station. So the PC I chose to connect it all up to was my old PC, which isn't as strong, but it's definitely not useless. I was considering to connect it all up to my laptop from Lenovo, since it's the only device that I have with a new 40 series graphics card. But since I went ahead and researched a bit where the RTX 4050 was against a GTX 1080 Ti, I ultimately decided to go with my old PC with the GTX 1080 Ti, since it still would perform better than the laptop, even though it's old. The PC's design I also really feel like fits well into the entire setup, so that's super nice. A minor detail is also that back in the day I designed the PC with mainly ASUS parts, simply because it made it so I could control everything with their AuraSync technology. Today I'm still a big fan of ASUS, and I actually even quite recently had a collaboration with ASUS Nordic on my Danish channels. So that's just amazing that things can come full circle around. The monitors I've set up is a pair of ASUS PG58UQ something 240Hz monitors. They're connected to a cheap dual monitor arm. I really don't recommend it at all. I will list it here in the video, but if you're looking for a great dual monitor gas arm, buy this one I have for my workstation instead, because damn, it's great. Like, it can even hold up my two massive 32-inch monitors from Dell. So I don't recommend this gas arm, but it was what I had lying around and I didn't want to buy another one. The monitors are also from like 2018, so they're quite old as well, but they're actually still quite great for gaming. They are TN panels, so everything looks quite washed out, but I'm used to it, so it doesn't bother me that much when I'm gaming. Back in chapter 1 of Fortnite, my friends and I actually used to play a lot. Like, a lot. I'm telling you, like, I have the biggest logger ever. Like, look at this shit. God damn it. Well, Fortnite, they have just released a reload playlist, which is kind of like Call of Duty's Resurgence game mode, but on the old map, or like a tiny version of the old map. So as of late, I've actually been playing a lot of Reload. Not like a lot, but like more than I used to game. Because I kind of feel like gaming has become a bit stale these last few years. So it's nice to have some old throwback content. I really appreciate that. So I'm just gonna play some more. The monitor size is only 24.5 inches, so they're quite small. But for gaming, I actually prefer them to be rather small, since it makes it easier to see the minimap, the HUD and the entire field of view whenever I'm gaming. This is, in my opinion, really important in FPS games, which is what I usually play. If I were to recommend some monitors today, I probably would say that you should buy some monitors that have an IPS panel, simply because it looks way better. So you'll get a much better experience. But even today, these monitors I have here are still great for gaming, so I don't mind. They are horrible for color work, which I usually do, but then it's great that I have my workstation for that purpose. I'm actually in the middle of figuring out what I like the most for gaming. I used to use over-ear headphones for gaming, but I recently got these ASUS earbuds that I've been trying out. And I actually really like them, but I also really like these Arctis Nova Pro Wireless from SteelSeries, so I'm not sure specifically what I'm gonna use for the foreseeable future. There's no doubt that the SteelSeries headphones are the most convenient, since it's possible for me to have them connected to both my Nintendo Switch as well as my PC at the same time. The sound experience is also way better, and they also have a really nice system in place for when you run out of battery, since you can easily just swap the battery from the headphones with the one in the base station. The ASUS earbuds aren't super special. They just deliver great active noise cancellation and nice sounding audio, and then they are just wireless earbuds you put in your ear instead of around your ears. So the main reason I really like them are simply because you don't get a dent in your head. And it's more natural for me to move around, since I'm so used to in-ear headphones from just moving around every day with in-ear headphones. The RGB light is a nice addition, but definitely not something that matters that much to someone like me. The keyboard I've chosen is also from ASUS. This video is not an ad or sponsored by ASUS, I swear. I just really like a lot of the peripherals, and the design just fits perfect in with the rest of the setup. Well, the keyboard is ASUS's ROG ASOF 75% wireless keyboard. It's equipped with their own NX Snow linear switches, which basically is a red linear switch that's just more stable and don't rattle around. So it feels really great to type on. Out of all the different switches you can choose for this keyboard, this is also the one that needs the least amount of force when pressing the keys. The keys are also PBT double shot, so fingerprints are quite minimal. The sound coming from the keyboard is also rather nice, even though it's not a custom keyboard. It also has a small OLED screen which can be used to show the battery, multimedia info, system info, or just show some cool custom animations, if that's what you want. With the RGB light and the OLED screen off, you can get up to 2000 hours of battery life. But with both the OLED screen and RGB light on, it's only around 62 hours. Everything is also super low latency, which is an absolute must for a gaming keyboard today in my opinion. It can also be controlled through ASUS's software Armory Crate, where you can control light, macros, different profiles, etc. You also shouldn't expect any ghosting, because from my testings, it doesn't seem to be a problem at all. So that's great. One of the main reasons I really like this keyboard is also rather simple, but it's because it has compatibility for both PC and Mac. And it even has markings for Command and Option on the keys. I often use the keyboard for both my MacBook Air M2 15-inch and my PC setup, so this is something I really appreciate a whole lot. In the package for the keyboard, there's also a kit for looping the switches yourself. I haven't done that, but it's nice that you can if you want to. Also important to note that there's a Bluetooth mode, a wired mode, and a wireless 2.4 GHz mode available on the keyboard. You can also adjust the height if you like. I just prefer it as low to the table as possible. I'm actually really happy with this keyboard. I feel like you get a lot for your money, even though the price might be quite steep for a lot of people. The mouse I use is also in a bit of a tryout stage. I've been using the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, the first version, for a long time now. But with the campaign for ASUS Nordic, they sent me this ASUS ROG Harp Ace AimLab Edition wireless mouse. So I've been trying it out, and to be completely honest, I don't see that big of a difference. It's basically the exact same mouse as the G Pro X Superlight. There's some very small differences in the shape of the mouse. Here the ASUS one is a bit longer and not as high, which I kinda prefer since I have some rather large hands. The ASUS mouse also only weighs 54 grams, whereas the Superlight weighs 60 grams. But it's nothing you notice when you game, since it's such a small difference. Design wise, I do think the Superlight is nicer. Yeah, except for the fact that I have grip tape all over mine, but that's just because I have a tendency to drop it out of my hand when it's cold in the room, and then I get dry hands. Functionality wise, they are also almost exactly the same. 2 buttons on the left side of the mouse, however the ASUS buttons are a bit more prominent and easier to press down, but it's minuscule. Both have a polling rate of 1000, with almost the same battery life of up to 70 hours with RGB lights on. The ASUS mouse have easy access to DPI and pairing. Together with some combination presses, you can access polling rate, lift off distance, and more. And that's nice to have easily accessible directly on the mouse. So yeah, I would probably recommend both mice equally much, but I do think I prefer the ASUS ROG Harp Ace mouse a little bit more. But it's really not much. Oh, and both the keyboard and mouse from ASUS has a ROG Omni receiver, so you can connect both devices to one receiver. But I don't use it since I feel like it's just better to have both cables easily accessible when I need to charge the devices. So I just have them connected to 2 different receivers. But it's nice that you can just connect them to one receiver. So yeah, both mice are perfect for FPS gaming. Apart from the essential things, then I also have a few other accessories on my gaming setup. So let's go over them. The mousepad I'm using is a limited edition GSR SE from BenQ. It has the perfect amount of friction, in my opinion, not too fast and not too slow. The design is also a great little break from all the white I have on the table, and it matches great in with my light, which is awesome. Connected up to my headset, I also have a Nintendo Switch. I bought it all the way back when it was released, but to be honest, I don't really use it that often anymore. It's a rather smart way I've set it up, since both the PC and the Nintendo Switch are connected to the SteelSeries headset. So if I want to play any Switch games, it's as easy as going to the HDMI channel on my monitor and turning on the Nintendo Switch. This is also another great benefit of the Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset from SteelSeries. One of the last things I have connected to the table is an Elgato key light to get some light on my face if I need to record some footage or if I have a meeting. You can easily adjust the temperature and the brightness level of the light, which I do through the Elgato Stream Deck that I have connected to my other PC. On the key light, I have mounted some sockets for power to my devices. And on top, I kinda quirky attached OBS Spot's Tiny 2 camera, which is actually a rather smart camera that can be controlled either via your voice or through gestures. You can even make it track you around if you move around quite a lot. It's a super nice camera for meetings and probably also for live streaming, since it keeps everything energetic all the time. Oh yeah, and on top of my PC, I also have an old SCUF controller, which I've used to play some adventure games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That was my updated 2024 gaming setup. Hope you like it. If you want to check any of the products out for yourself, then check the description. Everything should be listed down below. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you found the video interesting. And then I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.